On the 15th of August 1769, a boy was born on the Mediterranean island of Corsica. As a man, he would shape his country's laws, promote education, science, literature and the arts. As a military dictator, he would rule absolutely and plunge the world into war. This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon's military career began at the age of 9 when he was sent to a military academy in France. He graduated from Paris's prestigious military school in 1785 and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the artillery, where he quickly rose to prominence after the outbreak of the French Revolution in 1789. In late 1793, Napoleon was sent to the naval port of Toulon, which had rebelled against the new French government and joined the British. Lieutenant Colonel Bonaparte forced the British ships out of the port, and in the assault that followed, the city was recaptured. Napoleon was promoted to Brigadier General. In 1795, an armed mob of royalists tried to overthrow the French government. Napoleon was put in charge of the defensive force and successfully crushed the insurgents. This triumph won him money, fame, and the support of the government. Within weeks, he was romantically linked with society star Josephine Beauharnais, and in 1796 they were married. Just days after his wedding, Napoleon led a successful invasion of Italy. The attack introduced a new era of French empire building and gave Napoleon a taste for victory. Military success continued through 1797 as Austria was defeated and Belgium, Holland and the Rhineland became part of France. Not content with these victories, Napoleon invaded Venice, ending more than 1,000 years of Venetian independence and robbing the city of many of its art treasures. In 1798, Napoleon invaded Egypt, defeated the Egyptian army and captured the capital, Cairo. However, the success on land was not matched at sea, and British Admiral Horatio Nelson annihilated the French ships at the Battle of the Nile. Napoleon escapes to France. With France threatened by enemies north and south, and the government turning against him, Napoleon staged a coup and made himself first consul, the most powerful man in France. The new first consul again defeated the Austrians and France was saved. In 1804, Napoleon crowned himself emperor, and Britain, Austria, Russia and Sweden joined together in an attempt to defeat him. In 1805, Admiral Nelson again inflicted defeat of the French off Cape Trafalgar. Undeterred, Napoleon gathered 200,000 men and fought a brilliant campaign against the Austrians and the Russians, eventually capturing the Austrian capital, Vienna. In perhaps his finest battle, a tactical masterpiece, he beat the combined Austro-Russian forces at Austerlitz in December 1805, and then 10 months later smashed Prussia and occupied Berlin. He was now the virtual ruler of Western and Central Europe. Only one country still defied him, Britain. So Napoleon banned all European trade with Britain. Napoleon's successful conquest of Europe continued with an invasion of Spain in 1808. Having put his brother Joseph on the throne, Napoleon returned to France, instructing his generals to invade Portugal. After another series of victories against Austria, Napoleon married the Austrian Archduchess Marie-Louise in 1810. The war that he had started in Spain and Portugal raged on until the British Duke of Wellington finally managed to defeat the French armies and end Napoleon's hold over the region. In 1812, Napoleon made his gravest mistake. He invaded Russia. Although they took Moscow, the French, like the Nazis 130 years later, were unprepared for the Russian winter. Napoleon retreated with the loss of 300,000 men. In 1813, Prussia, Austria and Britain closed in on the French emperor, forcing him back to France. In November, Napoleon rejected peace offers, so the Allies invaded. Paris fell in March 1814, and in April, Napoleon was exiled to the Mediterranean island of Elba. Less than 12 months later, Napoleon, having escaped, resumed power and gathered an army. Once again, the Allies prepared to invade. Nearby in Belgium was Napoleon's nemesis, the Duke of Wellington. On the 18th of June, Napoleon attacked Wellington at Waterloo, but he was unable to repeat his earlier success and the French collapsed. This time, Napoleon was imprisoned on the remote Atlantic island of St. Helena, where he died on May 5, 1821. While he was hated by his many enemies, Napoleon was also respected as a brilliant military leader. When the Duke of Wellington was asked who was the greatest general of the day, he replied, "In this age, in past ages, in any age, Napoleon."